Episode 5 now on the Daily Dozen. We're spotlighting the players to watch in alphabetical order going into the 2014 season. That's Jason Jewell. I'm Jared Cohen. When we were out at Chandler High School spring football practices, there was a player that absolutely stood out. That was wide receiver and also could play a little bit of safety this season, N'Keal Harry. He is an absolute athletic monster. I'm very excited to see what he does in this Chandler Wolves offense, one of the many threats that Bryce Perkins will have to throw to on the offensive side of the football.
One of the breakout teams is Poston Butte, and they are led by their running back, Brandon Hatfield. Rushed for 1,100 yards last season and 15 touchdowns. They get a new head coach in Paul Morrow. We all know what he did at Blue Ridge, and he loved to run the football. So expect him to keep feeding Brandon Hatfield and expect him to have an even better senior season.
We've had a lot of Mountain Point players that we've mentioned already, and it's just going to keep coming. They have that many great players. The next one is Bruce Hester. The Mountain Point Pride lost 3 players on the defensive line from last season, and now they're going to look to Hester to be the leader of that group. A great quote from Coach Norris Vaughn. He's mentioned before that the key to winning football is the most important players come from the inside out. The nose guard for this defense is Bruce Hester, and that 3-man front, he's the closest one to the football, which means he's one of the most important players on the field for Coach Vaughn and the Pride.
I'm going to stay on the defensive side of the ball, but I'm going down to Tucson. Justin Holt, defensive tackle, only a junior at South Point High School. Now, South Point is a Division I factory. They've had so many Division I kids come out of there, it's ridiculous. And Holt is another one. Already has an offer from the University of Arizona. Expect him to get plenty more. 3-star player by Scout.com already. First team All-Section last year, and only going to be a junior.
Man, Tucson's got some players. We'll stay down there. Marana, Travis Howard, the tight end defensive lineman for Marana. He was a first-team player with 4 touchdowns as a tight end last season. Second-team All-Section on the defensive line. Just another one of the great talent to go with Derek Hall and Demetrius Flanagan and a lot of other players that are very talented from Southern Arizona.
I'm going to stay with a coach's son in this one, Northwest Christian. They're one of the powerhouses in Division 5, and their quarterback is Drew Ennis. He is the son of the head coach, Dave Ennis. He's been starting on varsity since he was a freshman, and he put up big numbers, and they are another team that will contend in Division 5 again.
Speaking of starting as a freshman, that was that case last season for Austin Jackson, the big offensive lineman out at North Canyon High School, and he's going to be back starting as a sophomore, going to be the anchor of the Rattlers offensive line and a very important piece to run behind for the Akwali brothers coming up in this season for North Canyon.
New Chaparral head coach Conrad Hamilton is known as a defensive guru. He loves those big defensive linemen, and he has another one. Junior Brandon Jamison, 6'4" and 225 pounds, was second-team All-Section last year. I expect him to turn in another great performance this year. Was very, very good and almost unblockable at times in the offseason camps that I saw.
We talked about how N'Keal Harry was a breakout player last season for Marcos, now on Chandler. Well, the guy that they think at Chandler is going to be a breakout player this year is Justin Jan, wide receiver. Hasn't proven a whole lot on the football field at the varsity level, but this is a guy that should be a household name when all is said and done for the Wolves in a season that has plenty of expectations for them.
Cameron Johnson was one of the most versatile players last year in the state at Tempe High School. Was the conference's player of the year, very good running back, rushed for over 1,000 yards, and a hard-hitting safety. Has since transferred to Saguaro, has many Division I football offers, and Coach Mons is very excited to get this big-time transfer. Going to add in guys like Christian Kirk, and I expect Saguaro to have another great year and potentially contend for this Division III state title.
Westview loves to run the football, and the best culprit for that was Jalen Johnson, who had a remarkable 2013 junior season, 1,600 yards, 21 touchdowns. Joe Parker, who was the O-line coach for Westview last season, is now their head coach, so don't expect him to stop feeding the rock to Jalen Johnson. I expect another big year for him, has offers from academy schools, Army, and Air Force since we saw him last season.
I'm staying out on the west side for another running back, just going to be a sophomore. Roshan Johnson at Desert Edge started for them last year as a freshman. He's going to continue, and he's a beast. He rushed for 800 yards last year. Coach Wellbrock thinks that this guy has Division I potential.
That's it for episode 5 of the Daily Dozen. Continue to stick with us, the Daily Dozen, on Sports360AZ.com.